jamming into a beautiful Tuesday morning. Thank you very much for joining us at the start of a brand new day. Now, we know that there are some subtle areas of life where we, leak energy unnecessarily, and it just happens to us. This morning, we talked to our human potential expert, Nikki Bush, about some of the ways we can create more peace of mind as part of our mental well-being. What practices have helped you at home maintain your mental health? Send in your voice notes on WhatsApp. That's 063-408-8863. Nikki, good morning. It's so good to see you.
Good morning, Tabiso.
Energy stealers, they are all over the place, over here, over there, everywhere. What are some of the ones that you have identified in your long career?
Thanks, Tabiso. So I want to talk today about how we create peace of mind, because there are these little energy thieves that go over and over in the back of our minds. What if? What if? What if something happens to me?
Yeah.
What if I die? What if I get ill? What if I'm disabled? How is my family going to live? What are my finances like? Are my affairs in order? Do I have a will?
Yeah.
These are the things that we don't get round to doing, and then they steal our energy. So It's kind of this subconscious little thing going on in the back of our minds. And the only way to stop that energy leak is to take action.
Take action. Okay, well, listen, people have already weighed in, Nikki. This is such a big conversation, an important one as well. We've got some voice notes. Let's hear what our viewers have had to say.
Very good morning to my Expresso family and the panel. What really helped me in my mental health state was beads. I did beads, and exercise is also very important. Thank you so much, Justin Over Gardens. Bye.
Doing bead work and exercising to help her cope with mental illness and mental challenges, which is really fantastic. So really, it's all about taking action and finding ways in which you can channel all of that negative energy into positivity, right?
Absolutely. And so it's about being self-aware, being conscious of those things that are leaking your energy, taking that action. And we don't like to look our mortality in the face, because death is a reality. Dread disease is a reality. Disability is a reality. Life doesn't unfold in a straight line, and it sometimes throws surprises in our way.
Why do these surprises seem to steal so much of our energy? Why do they steal it?
Because fear underpins all of it. And so in order to manage our fear, we need to put things in place and then let it go.
In other words, get our affairs in order.
Absolutely.
Where do we start? Where do we start? Because we often hear that. Pull up your socks. Get your life together. Get it together. Pull yourself together. Get your affairs in order. Where do you start?
Well, I think firstly with a will.
Okay.
And over 54% of South Africans do not have a will. And your will is, those are your instructions from the grave, so to speak, as to what will happen with your money, with your policies, with your assets. And if you don't leave instructions, well, the state will decide. And if you are a parent and you have dependents, whether it's your own children or elderly parents, you need to put things in place to make sure they're taken care of, after you have left your mortal coil.
Because otherwise, then it's not up to you what happens. The state just decides, and there we go. That's your lot.
Absolutely. And then, of course, there's the what-if file checklist.
I love this. I love the title of it already.
Yeah, and this is something that I put together after the death of my husband, and I had to wrap up his estate. So, when somebody dies, it really ends up being about the policies, the money, and the memories. That's what you are left with. And we need to make sure that we have our affairs in order. Really love yourself and each other enough to get your affairs in order. And there are 43 items on my checklist to be so.
This is the What If checklist by Nikki Bush. Okay, maybe take me through some of them so that we get an idea, the sorts of questions we need to be asking ourselves.
Absolutely. Let's start with some of the vitals. When you are claiming on policies, pensions, all those things, you're going to need to prove your identity, your children's identity, the level of dependence, because there's a lot of fraud that goes on out there, So the kinds of documents you'll be asked to supply, not just your children's birth certificates, but vault copy birth certificates.
Okay.
Don't even ask me what the difference is, but there's a subtle difference.
And it's important.
Pensions will not pay out unless you produce vault copy birth certificates. And the last thing you want to do when you're traumatized because of a death or a disability is to be queuing at Home Affairs.
And having the stress of that.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Then if you're married, you need a full marriage certificate, not the abridged version. So that little A4 piece of paper that you get when you get married.
It's cute, but...
It's cute, but... And let me tell you once again, the full marriage certificate does not look much different to the abridged version. So there's an unabridged and an abridged version. And you need the proper version for any kind of claim.
Otherwise, you are in trouble.
So what happens if you don't have the documents is that the process gets stymied. So, you know, you might wait 6, 8, 12 weeks for a document to come through, and it means that you can't progress with the claims.
But you can't do much. All right, our human potential expert, Nikki Bush, is in the house. We're talking about those energy thieves, the things that stress us. They consume our minds so much, and many of us very often wonder, what will happen when I die? What will happen when my partner, my spouse dies? And these are very important things to be looking at. But in the meantime, please do share your experiences with us, how you cope with those energy thieves. 063 408 8863.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back to it. It is your Feel Good Breakfast Show. It's Expresso. We're live here on S3 as we continue our conversation with human potential expert. It's Nikki Bush, who's talking to us about creating peace of mind as part of mental well-being. What practices have helped you maintain your own mental health? Please do share WhatsApp with us. We want to hear from you on number 063 408 8863. Of course, earlier on, we did speak about getting your affairs in order. And I think, and I suspect, and Nikki will tell us, I suspect, Nikki, that it's got to do, once your affairs are in order across all different areas of your life, you're then able to find that peace of mind. It starts to sort of show up.
Absolutely, Tabiso. So I think, you know, there's this concept of creating order out of chaos. And in our busyness, we tend to let things slide. We tend to let the filing pile up. We tend to not dot the I's and cross the T's. And we don't realize how those little things mount up and start stressing us.
And that's important to, you know, get a hang of it. I once was told if you don't ride the horse is going to ride you when it comes to your paperwork. Now, how important is it to have your investments and especially life insurance?
Yeah, this is really important. So there's two things. One is your policies, and policies are important for liquidity. You know, we worry about what if something happens to us, if we get a dread disease or if we die, how will our family cope financially? So we buy policies in order to give us often that short-term liquidity, that short-term cover, because death is expensive. Illness is expensive. So make sure you have enough. Don't overpay, but make sure you have enough and then relax. But we also need to be making plans for our future selves because we're going to live a long time.
I love that you say, sort it out, make sure that you've got enough and then relax, because that is peace of mind starting to really be allowed to exist in your life. We asked the question, how do you deal with mental stressors in your life? Please, let's hear some of those voice notes.
Good morning, Expresso. I find that practicing mindfulness really does help. Thank you for a great show.
Oh, thank you for that. Our viewer said practicing mindfulness really helps. Let's take a listen to our next voice note.
Morning, everybody. Most definitely walking and a bit of running. I work under severe pressure, and I just love that because then I can be in my nothing box and just outdoor and fresh air.
Oh,
thank you. This is Jeanette. Thanks. Have a great day. Bye.
I absolutely love that because, you know, when we walk, motion shifts emotion. So all of those things we've been talking about, which kind of eat away at us, sometimes just the walking helps you to put things in place or brings things up that you hadn't thought about before. So it kind of releases the mind to do that free association, which is really important, because when you sit in front of a computer all day, when you're busy, doing, you know, those things get pushed aside. And I find that movement frees up that thought process, and you connect the dots differently.
You definitely do. I know that, you know, I speak finances and life plans with friends quite often, and I have to say, Nikki, it did stress me out, because my friends who didn't take a gap year, whereas I did, they were further ahead of me by the time it came to their career post-studies, and they were talking about, you know, life insurance, they were talking about investments and retirement annuity, and I haven't been there yet because I was still a student at the time. How can you stop yourself from stressing over something that's maybe not on your path just yet?
Ooh, yeah.
Well, I think we need to tell our viewers that it's never too late to start, and then a healthy habit which will help you be mindful and reduce your stress is the power of the debit order. So it's not investing every now and again. It's taking a set amount that you know you can afford, signing that debit order, and making sure it goes off every month. And the interesting thing is that you will earn enough to cover that, because you've set your mind to doing that. And that, I cannot tell you how much peace of mind that has given me. So the financial discipline, the act of, is what will help you be more mindful, reduce your stress and your worry.
I love that. I think all of the areas in our lives are so interconnected, and we often find that we stress exactly about the same thing, but we all do have the potential to live lives that are free of stress, free of worry, and free of constantly finding yourself being overwhelmed. And it's people like Nikki Bush who help us distill all of that and see it in a much clearer way. Thank you so much for this, Nikki Bush. Please go find her resources available online, nikkibush.com.